Hello everyone and welcome to my channel where we don't just tell stories, we explore the truths behind them. Today, we're diving into one of the most quietly talked about, emotionally complex relationships in the world of Turkish celebrities, the story of Yağmur Yücel and Bahar Baktı. A love story? Maybe. A partnership? Definitely. But more than that, it's a tale about fear, pressure, and ultimately the kind of love that doesn't explode, but evolves. From the outside, their journey looked like a fairy tale. Two incredibly talented artists, Yağmur, a celebrated director and screenwriter, and Bahar, a rising star in both theater and television, drawn together by their shared passion for storytelling. They first met on the set of a now iconic drama series, where their on-screen chemistry sparked rumors almost immediately. But what fans didn't know is that their connection off-camera was nothing like the fiery passion shown on screen. It was slower, quieter, and far more complicated. In a deeply emotional and rare interview, Yağmur finally opened up about the events that led her to marry Bahar. Her words were not dramatic, they were raw, honest, almost hesitant, as though she was still navigating the meaning behind her own choices. Everyone talks about falling in love like it's this grand moment. For me, it wasn't a moment. It was a series of silences, of shared looks, of things left unsaid that somehow still meant something. And then, I looked around and realized I was in it. Not head first, but carefully, almost nervously. She explained that she hadn't grown up dreaming of weddings. That commitment to her was a heavy word. And when Bahar proposed, it wasn't under a glowing sunset or on a red carpet. It was late at night, after a long day on set, when they were both exhausted. He didn't even get on one knee. He just looked at me and said, "If you say yes, say it for you, not for them, not for the fans, not because you feel like you owe anyone anything." And I cried, because I didn't know what I wanted. But she said yes, not because she had all the answers, but because she wanted time to find them, and she believed Bahar might be the person she could search with. The wedding was small, intimate, far away from Istanbul's flashbulbs and magazine covers. Only a few close friends attended. No big announcements, no sponsorships, no designer hashtags. Just two people trying to figure things out. After the wedding, they didn't post a honeymoon album or issue a statement. Instead, they disappeared to a small village by the Aegean, a place with no paparazzi, where the loudest sound was the sea brushing against the stones. Yağmur described that first month as both the hardest and the most healing of her life. There were mornings I would wake up and forget I was married, not because I didn't care, but because it still felt unreal. I'd walk into the kitchen, see him making coffee, and think I'm supposed to be someone's wife now. What does that even mean? Bahar, ever patient, never pushed, never asked her to be anything more than herself. If she wanted to talk, he listened. If she needed space, he gave it. If she just needed someone to sit next to in silence, he was already there. And it was in that silence that their love began to take root. Yağmur started writing again, not scripts but letters. To herself, to Bahar, to the girl she had once been, and to the woman she was becoming. She didn't share them. She didn't post them. But in those letters, she started to see a version of love that didn't require performance. We think love has to be fireworks, but sometimes love is just someone holding your hand while you fall apart, and then staying when you finally get back up. She admits now that she didn't truly fall in love with Bahar until after they were married. And even that admission, she says, used to make her feel guilty. But why? Why do we think love has to arrive before commitment? What if love is something we grow into, something we choose every day, even when it's difficult? Bahar's only comment on their relationship in recent months was this: "She didn't know me love. She owed herself honesty. That was enough for me." Today, they live a quiet life, away from the chaos. Their home is filled with plants, half-read books, and long pauses. They take walks by the coast. They cook together. Sometimes they argue. Sometimes they don't speak for hours. But always, they return to one another. They've started mentoring young actors and writers. Quietly. No publicity. Just guidance. Because they both remember what it felt like to be young in this industry and feel like everyone expected you to have all the answers. Now, Yağmur says, "I don't try to have the answers. I just try to be present. And Bahar lets me be." In one of the most shared clips from a podcast interview, Yammer said something that went viral. Real love doesn't make you feel like you have to become someone else. It makes you feel safe enough to finally be yourself. Thousands of fans, especially women, left comments saying they had never heard a celebrity speak so openly, so vulnerably, about fear and uncertainty in love. Because for once, it wasn't about glamour, it was about truth. And that truth, in its quiet way, changed how people saw not just Yammer and Bar but love itself. They're not the kind of couple you'll see attending every premiere or doing interviews side by side. But maybe that's because they're too busy living their story instead of trying to sell it. And maybe that's the point. So if you're watching this and you've ever felt unsure about love, about marriage, about whether you're ready, let this story remind you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be honest with yourself and with the person willing to wait beside you, no matter how long it takes. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing stories that speak from the heart. If this video moved you in any way, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is my channel, where we tell stories not for clicks, but for connection. Until next time, take care of your heart and let it guide you, even if the path isn't clear yet.